Welcome to my latest experiment. This is a big one, the one I've been waiting for all my life.
What is it?
Try to imagine all life as you know it stopping instantaneously and every molecule in your body exploding at the speed of light.
Oh my God.
The cream will rise to the top, oh yeah.
And I am the voice of the voiceless.
And there is no one that does it better.
The Guy and Harley podcast, streaming all over your face.
Perhaps that was the most important part.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Pigville on the internet. Women are like dog do. Hear me through. Don't interrupt. It's just the older that they are, the easier they are to pick up. I'd fill the generation gap, clean the cobwebs from her rafters. Old hens would rather put out than be put out to the pasture. No age ain't no gauge. I like my girls like my cheese. Preferably for me fat-free American singles only. I want my next chick anorexic. The winner is the thinner. Won't have to take her skinny ass out to a fancy dinner. I'm Harley Neville. Welcome along to the Guy and Harley podcast.
I'm Guy Pigden. The Bloodhound Gang
Strike again.
with another gem.
That's I fall back on the Bloodhound Gang when I've got no other lyrics, just because I know they'll have something offensive and funny.
They'll have something magic.
Yeah.
Welcome along to episode 55 of the Guy and Harley podcast.
This is a big day for the podcast because Jack Daniels have put out a competitor to Fireball whiskey.
Ooh.
And we're trying it right now. Guy hasn't had his first sip yet.
Gonna take a sip right now.
It's $13 cheaper than the other one.
Taste? Pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty much tastes the same to me.
Yep, I agree.
So, Fireball whiskey, you might be out of luck because this Jack Daniels Tennessee Fire is $13 cheaper. Same percentage, same volume. So, lift your game.
It's also a special day because it is today, if you're listening to this on Sunday, which of course you are because you listen to this the very minute that it drops on iTunes and Harley shares the link.
Neum Higgity.
Valentine's Day. V-Day. V-Day.
Valentine's Day, a.k.a. VD.
What are you doing for Valentine's Day, Harley?
Absolutely nothing.
Have you got any Valentine's Day merch to give to the old lady?
Nothing. Literally nothing. I did not get her a thing.
Yep.
I saw a funny meme today. Leia says to Han, "You don't need to get me anything." Mm-hmm. And then underneath, Admiral Akbar goes, "It's a trap!" And that's about where I am at the moment. I haven't got her a single thing.
Yep.
But I don't think she's gotten me anything either.
Yep.
But I'm gonna feel bad if she did get me something.
So you're banking on a nothing Valentine's Day.
Well, that is kind of what we agreed. You know, like we went out for dinner. I took her out for dinner twice recently.
Yeah.
You know, Jesus, what do you want from me?
Exactly.
And like, you know, I mean, what is it? It's all just consumerism, isn't it? What am I going to buy her? Some fucking chocolates wrapped in plastic?
Well, it's a celebration of love.
Well, no, it's a celebration of buying shit.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
Yeah.
You know, but, you know, I'll give her a flower and a kiss.
Will you give her a flower?
I'll give her a kiss.
An unwanted kiss. An unwanted kiss when she's busy, she's trying to do something else, and you try and give her a kiss.
She's busy, she's trying to do something else, and she's kind of pissed off because I didn't get her anything for Valentine's Day. But to be fair, I'm also working at 8 in the morning. She's working until late tonight, so when we wake up in the morning, I'll wake up and disappear before she even wakes up.
Yep.
So, you know, you never know. I might swing by the dairy on the way home and get her a fucking chocolate bar or something, you know.
Get her a paddle pop.
I'll get her like a cherry ripe or something because those are red.
Right.
So
they're gross though.
They are disgusting.
Yeah. So what is the most romantic thing you've done for someone on Valentine's Day?
Oh, you sprung this on me.
Yeah.
And, you know, and also realistically, I can't say I'd done something really romantic for somebody else that wasn't Angie.
Well, you have to.
I'd just be getting myself in trouble.
Well, I'll say a couple of things. One, you've had an agreement. You've made the agreement, nothing for Valentine's Day, so you're fine.
Yeah.
Two, this is years ago when you were less jaded and more open to the concept of true love.
Yeah.
So what was it? What did you do? What was the most sort of romantic gesture on a Valentine's Day?
No, well, to be honest, I think that it might have even been with Angie anyway.
There you go.
It's nothing. It was nothing too special, but she came home from work on Valentine's Day. I had lit the fire.
Yep.
I had bought her a bunch of chocolates that were shaped like love hearts, and I spread those love heart chocolates out on the bed in a love heart shape. It was love heartception.
What you don't mention is that you were lying underneath those chocolates naked.
No,
they were on your body. It was a spread of love hearts on your body.
If I could finish the story, please. And I waited until I could hear her coming, unlocking the door, and I sprawled myself in front of on a rug in front of the fire, naked.
And then I walked in,
and then
I was like, "Is this happening?
Yeah,
is this happening? Is this really happening right now? Are we doing this?"
It's been so long in the making.
That's quite funny. Yeah. How did she react to that?
Well, she thought the chocolates were really cute and sweet.
She wasn't happy about seeing you naked, but splayed out on the rug.
Well, like she thought she did. She was very stoked on the chocolate situation because she wasn't expecting anything, because we had said we weren't doing anything, which sets a dangerous precedent.
Yeah.
To say you're not doing anything and then to do something.
Yeah, and then sneakily do something.
Silly.
My girlfriend says to me, it doesn't matter if you just go pick a bunch of flowers or something.
Yeah.
I hate that. I really hate that. Because it's like, who wants a bunch of shitty flowers you pick from someone else's garden?
Well, not just that, but leave the fucking flowers alone.
Exactly.
What do they do to you? Like, why do we need to constantly harm nature?
Also, you're asking me to steal from someone else's flower bed.
Well, you could probably find one on council land, maybe.
I guess so.
Some daisies.
Yeah.
a little bouquet of daisies.
But if someone, brought me a bunch of flowers, and I was a girl or a guy, either way, and I was like, here you go, it's the thought that counts, I'd be like, fuck off.
You'd be like,
shit.
Flowers?
Flowers. What am I going to do with any flowers? What's anyone going to do with any flowers, right? But number two, really? You just pluck some flowers out of the ground and that's your grand gesture? What an ass. That's what I'd think. However, my most romantic thing, again, I'm in a similar situation to you with the old Valentine's Day. Basically, I have zero money, negative money. I am in debt. I am overdrawn in all my accounts. There is no chance of me purchasing anything. So I don't really, I can't even afford a card. So, I either have to make something or come up with something or do something, or that's it. I'm not celebrating it either. And I don't know what she's got planned. Probably nothing too serious. Probably, hopefully nothing at all, because, at the end of the day, she knows, she's aware of my financial status, so she's not going to buy anything, hopefully, for me. Because that would just make me feel bad.
Well,
the most romantic thing I ever did was I set a bunch of little clues, here, open a thing here, have a look in here, look under this, look under that.
And at the end of it, it led to a box, and inside the box was her ex-boyfriend's head.
That would have been an interesting idea for a horror film.
I stole it from Seven.
Oh, yeah, but that's not on Valentine's Day.
No, but
the clues were
a bunch of clues.
Well, yeah, it's a serial killer. Spoiler alert.
Well, that film is 20 years old.
Good film, though.
It is a good film.
So basically, and then at the end, the final thing was a ring, which was $40, which I'd bought with all my savings from working at the fish and chip shop. That was a big deal. That $40 was a huge, at the time, spend for me. And she got the ring. The ring was quite cheap, I will say, and the stone fell off it within a couple of weeks. The stone fell off it. Also, I think, at the time she cried when she, so emotional, she cried, but I think that she was crying tears knowing the amount of pain she was going to put me through in the relationship, and felt it was a guilt cry for all the torture that she was going to put me through just coming up. And she was like, oh man, I'm going to be shitting on him so badly, and he did all this. So that was my most romantic thing that I did.
Guy's ex-girlfriend became a stripper.
Yeah.
Just
among other things, she became a stripper. Among many other things,
and lied to him about it while they were still together. And
also, she from what has been told, a full-blown prostitute.
The rumor mill.
Full-blown prostitute.
Now, I haven't heard these rumors.
You haven't heard that one?
No, I've only heard it from you.
Oh, yeah.
From you starting it.
I've heard that from several sources. So,
I did think it was strange that she slept with me when I gave her all that money. But I didn't think that much about it.
You didn't put two and two together. You didn't understand that it was a transaction.
Yeah.
You just thought you were giving her some money for a kebab.
I thought it was a loan.
On the way home.
I thought she was going to pay me back.
Good jokes. Good jokes. So wherever you are, happy Valentine's Day to you. If you're smart like us, you've done nothing. And, we'll, bear the brunt of that, of your girlfriend's wrath. But, it's probably worth it.
Oh, shit.
It's tomorrow.
It's tomorrow. No, hang on. I just realised something. Bloody Angie texted me today. She was like, what time do you start work tomorrow? And I was like, I start at 8. And she was like, oh, no, that sucks. I had a surprise planned at 1:30. Yeah. And I was like, oh, well, I finish at 1, so it's all good.
Yeah.
And I was completely oblivious. I was not like, sweet, Valentine's Day. I was just like, dee, 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 dee. Ooh, a surprise. Cool. Lucky me. I did not click. So she is doing something.
Yeah, so you better,
and I just realised.
So you better start thinking. You said, I had this thought too. But, it's Valentine's Day, man. It's tough. It's tough when you're poor. It's tough when you got nothing. The dream,
it's tough at the bottom.
The Pigville fund. What was it called again?
Semi-pro.
Semi-pro has ended.
It's taken on another form, which is that guy needs to hurry up and do some chores for me, and I'll pay him. So I have actually been giving a lot of thought to the next poem I want to shoot.
The next chores.
Yeah.
But the semi-pro thing has taken a terrible turn. So, for 2 months, I guess, it was all good.
It was
3 months. It was all good, I had this money coming in from Harley every week. I had 4 days off. I was doing 30 hours a week, and I was, to be honest, I was not rich by any stretch of the imagination. I was still earning, a bit less than $600 a week, including that. But I felt good. It was great, and we got a lot of things done. We shot a lot of stuff. There's a lot of things in the can now because of that, and I'm a lot further along in the edit of Older as well. And it was really good, but I also thought at the end of that I could simply go back to my work and say, hey, look, guys, so, that was a fun little jaunt that I had there for 3 months, but now I'd like my old hours back, because I could never possibly sustain that in real life. And they were like, yeah, no, this is it. These are your hours now. And I was like, what? And they're like, yeah, so, we've changed the roster now. This is the roster. The new boss doesn't want to give any more hours to people. You can't just pick up an extra day like you're doing. And they kind of screwed me a little bit. They left me a little bit high and dry because for a year prior to that, I had been doing extra hours for them sort of most weekends. So most weekends I'd work an extra Friday for them to help them because they were understaffed then. And, it was kind of me doing them a favor. Like, I was doing them quite a big solid. And every time I'd be like, yeah, okay, but that at some point I'm going to want to chill out on this a little bit. And they're like, yeah, no worries. But, whenever you need. And then
now they're like, we've got a solid for you. A big solid.
Yeah, big
here comes the big solid.
Yeah, so it has kind of left me in a bit of a fucking predicament. Because now I'm really the money goes in on Thursday, the money goes out on Thursday, and there's no money on Friday. And there's not really any sort of additional extra money for anything. So I'm really now sort of having to kind of look for some extra part-time work, basically, getting that desperate. So, dreams come and go. They can be gone in a blink of an eye.
Well, so okay, hang on. Firstly, so if you guys want to help, please go to our Patreon page. We set up a Patreon page, right? So search Pigville on Patreon and you'll find us.
And we had quite an underwhelming response from this last week.
We've had 0 donations. 0, not even $1. If you could just give us $1, that would really help get the ball rolling, So go to Patreon anyway, and you can donate to us there. You can donate per video we put out. You can say, I'll give you $1 per video you put out, with a maximum of, 3 videos a month or something, whatever you want. You can sort of set it up. Or you can say, I'll just give them a flat rate of $3 a month, And if enough people do it, well, that all adds up, and Guy can go semi-pro again, as opposed to semi-homeless.
Yeah, the semi-unemployed.
Yeah, but I was a little bit disappointed. This is what I was thinking of all of this. You had in your mind that you could go back to work. At the end of it. But when you got your Zombie Holocaust money, I was quite disappointed that you didn't invest any in the continuation of semi-pro, because I was like, between the two of us, we can find a way to kind of, keep this going, but you instead chose to invest it in gear, which I disagreed with, and we had a long conversation about.
Well, look, I mean, to be honest, some things happened that I wasn't intending. Like having to sort of go back to Dunedin to shoot some more of the music video. The general cost of the music video overall was far greater than I could have ever anticipated.
What did it come to? What was the total that we spent?
If you count the airfares, you're looking at sort of well over $1,000, possibly sort of something like maybe 1,200 or 1,300, which is really quite a lot.
So that Talia, she got pretty lucky. The artist Talia that's got the music video being shot for her, she got pretty lucky, really, because usually what happens is a band or an artist finds some money and then pays the filmmaker to make the video. But in our case, we find the artist and then offer to shoot them a music video out of our own pocket.
Yeah.
Good deal. Good deal.
Pretty good deal. So that definitely sort of was a bit of a setback, and look, maybe I did go a little bit crazy with the buying of some equipment. To be honest, it's not that I even bought like that much equipment. I just bought a few things that I felt that we needed, and I will say too that like I am very glad that we have those things, because it means that we're a bit more sort of mobile to be able to sell ourselves as a videographer sort of company or videography company, because we've got some things that we kind of needed that were kind of just on the periphery of like not quite having the thing that we needed. So it's good and bad, but certainly I'm feeling the pinch now in a way that greatly concerns me.
Yeah. Now it's the bad.
Yeah. But I was really flying high for those 3 months.
Well, speaking of money and expensive productions, my poem, Gravity, the one about religion, the video is looking very, very excellent. I'm really excited by the last edit I saw is like pretty exceptional. And now it's time to score it, put the music on it, and that has been an unexpectedly large cost.
Certainly.
That has come to approximately $550.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
For the score for a sort of a 3-minute 45 video. It's quite prohibitive, because really, that if that video makes any money on YouTube, it might make $500,
Yep.
if we're lucky. It might make $500. And that is obviously the investment. I've spent, in total, or between us, we've spent $670 on this 3-minute 45 poem.
Gay poem.
Speaking of gay, that's good. That's a great segue, actually, because I've got a couple of I've got some feedback on last week's episode.
I'm in trouble now.
I've had some people comment on last week's episode. Now, Guy and I had this conversation about whether or not Shaun of the Dead, the joke in which the main guy, what's his name? The main guy,
Shaun.
Oh yeah. What's the other guy's name? What's the fat guy's name?
Ed, I think.
Okay, so in Shaun of the Dead, Shaun is talking about his girlfriend and how much he loves her and all this stuff, and it's really romantic and sappy. And then Ed goes, oh, all right, gay.
Yeah.
And it's a very funny joke. And Guy thinks we were disagreeing as to what was the funny part of it. For me, it was funny because he's talking about something heterosexual, his love for his girlfriend, and the other guy calls it gay.
Yeah.
And that's the joke for me. Whereas Guy thought it was just funny that he was saying gay. Now, so we've got a few. Now we've had 3 people comment on this. Now, that doesn't sound like many, but for us,
that's like
the most we've ever had.
Yeah.
Like, that is infinitely more, literally infinitely more than we've ever had.
On
because
anything.
we've never had a response.
We always ask for feedback on stuff. We've gotten 0. But
Zero?
this hot button topic has... So what do we got?
So, let me just quickly find that. So, Jeremy Howson, the artiste that has been sending us some spray paint art of ourselves. He said, just listened. I agree with Harley's view on the Shaun of the Dead joke. Mm-hmm. I've even used that joke in that context since.
Okay.
Another Facebook user by the name of Naomi Kebby.
Oh shit, Naomi. How can you do this to me, Naomi?
The gay joke.
Yep.
I'm with Harley Neville. Sorry, Guy.
God, how could you?
I've got one more here.
Yep.
Facebook user Shelley Butt.
Now, for those of you who don't know, that's my girlfriend. This is my girlfriend here ganging up on me.
Well, you don't know what she's going to say.
Oh, yeah, well, it's...
She said, yeah... Harley is right on this one, Guy. Yeah, Harley's right on this one, Guy. Leave the space jokes and gay jokes to him. So
space jokes?
Well, I think this might be a reference to the other jokes I make about space.
Well, they're not really jokes as more as they are boring scientific facts.
Hey, sometimes I've got an entire rap about space.
Well, I rewatched that Shaun of the Dead clip.
Yeah.
Following our conversation, and look, call a spade. Sometimes you have to admit when you may have made a little bit of a fumble, a slight mistake. Because when I listened to it again, yes, definitely the joke was like something super hetero being compared to being gay. So there was definitely that aspect of the joke there. I still felt like I still did not really think about that all the way, and the many times that I've seen that, and I still more laughed at the side of like something really lovey-dovey and romantic being shot down was always the way I thought of it until we framed this conversation and rewatched it. And then I was like, oh, yeah, well, I guess it is quite obviously that as well. Now, could you argue that is the main part of the joke? Yeah, you could argue that. Could you argue that there is that other side of the joke too? Yeah, I still think you could argue that. I still think that is still valid. And I still think that stupid people will definitely be laughing on that side of the joke. Now, was I laughing on the stupid side of the joke for all these years? Yeah. Yeah, did I not pick up on the cleverness or subtlety of that? Yeah, I didn't pick up on that at all, really. I really did not think about it like that. So there you go.
Well, shit, this is like kind of a moment for me. I mean, like, I know you're a big man, you'll own up to your mistakes, but Jesus, it never happens. Wow. This is a moment.
It's a watershed moment.
This is. Well, that's awesome.
Well, also, Shelley...
I was expecting this fight to continue.
Shelley busted my balls on it.
Oh, right.
As well.
Yeah.
When even your girlfriend's against you, when even your dearest friend in London is against you, you got to take stock. So there you go. But I just rewatched the clip again, and I was like, oh yeah, I guess he's gay because it's not gay because it's a contradiction. The joke is the contradiction. The joke is the contradiction. But anyway, so we spent a lot of money on the poetry, or you did. specifically.
In this one, we're not going halves in this cost because it was. I just did it without consulting guy because I knew the answer would be no. Because I knew the answer would be no. So instead, I'm just I'm spending my own money on it, and I'm banking on recouping that cost from the YouTube. So I'll take the first $5.50 that comes from the YouTube earnings. So I might be a little bit dreaming there, but we'll see.
We'll see. But I think this is the problem, because my big objection is that when you're trying to make like consistent low budget stuff, but it becomes not low budget, then you're kind of just making expensive stuff a lot. Yeah. And then that becomes a real problem financially, because you're not recouping that. You're not like, it's fine to sort of, spend money to make money. It's fine to spend money to make something of a high quality. But when, I guess, the high quality can't justify the sort of like, so if we spend, say, we shot this short film, and maybe it'll cost $1,000 or something to do the sound mix and stuff like that, I could make the argument and say, well, look, it could go to festivals, it could be a calling card, blah, blah, blah. And that would be my justification for it. Harley's poetry, his justification is, well, it'll get millions of views on YouTube. It certainly won't be a calling card. No, it will be a calling card for your poetry.
Well, exactly. So it'll be a big stepping stone for my poetry, I reckon.
Yeah.
Like it might open some doors for me. Even the old one, I kind of got invited to a skeptics conference in Washington. There's a guy who's involved with it who sort of said, we could probably, if you were to go to Washington in July, we might be able to, you might be able to perform your poem at this like skeptics meetup kind of thing.
Right.
Which would be an interesting and perhaps an opportunity. And that's based off like the live, audio version, or the live video that I shot, the very first time I'd ever performed poetry, ever. So, this might actually open some sort of doors on the poetry scene.
Well, look, the middle-aged old lady at that shitty back-end pub that you perform poetry at,
the Thirsty Dog,
did say that she predicted big things of you, and if you weren't a big, was it a big?
She said, Harley, your poems are always so piercingly insightful.
Piercingly insightful.
And if you're not famous already, I'm confident that you will be.
She would have liked some piercing insight from you.
It's very offensive.
So, well, look, this is the thing that I have actually thought about, right? Now, I actually do not discount the idea that you could become a famous poet. I do not discount that.
Good. Thank you.
I think, well, look, it's a very unrealistic thing.
Well, I don't discount that you could become a famous film director.
I feel like that's slightly more realistic, only because of the way that, like, at the end of the day, there are filmmakers who can make money filmmaking. There are avenues to make money in a way that there isn't so much for poetry. Once you're at a certain level. So I think, poetry is the true artists thing, but it doesn't really,
the only way to make money with it is YouTube and gigging,
like
gigs.
like people may pay for poetry books at some point, but it's all, it seems slightly less realistic, right? But I have considered the idea that, like, what if you do blow up from your gay poetry? Like what happens if you, or more realistically, you get cast in a big role in something and you do really well in that, and you sort of go into this new sphere of actors who's like working on like lots of American productions and doing a lot of good stuff and doing a lot of interesting stuff, which I have more of a hope for, just in terms of, like, I guess the financial success and rewards that might bring, because also we're living in a kind of a different era to when poets were really lauded as, like, really, like, you could just be a poet, like, like James K. Baxter of his time, or Keats or Yeats or whoever the fuck they are, like, these people are figures in history, not from the last, like, 10, 15, 20 years. We're talking about some time ago when, I guess, literary prowess was really respected and admired and seen like a celebrity would be. Like a Kim Kardashian of today was seen as a poet of 70 years ago. So I do think maybe the landscape of culture has changed. So it'll be more difficult to become successful that way. But I still believe that it could happen, and I believe it could certainly happen with the acting. What would I do? Guy Pigden, no semi-pro fund.
So, but let's imagine. So, what are you talking about? If I become a big successful poet, let's set it in the poetry world as opposed to the acting world.
Sure.
Purely because I think it's more interesting, it's funnier, sort of.
Yeah. So you're this big successful poet. You're sort of booking these gigs. You're sort of touring overseas with
I'm Tim Minchin.
Yeah. I mean, he really came from comedy, but I guess you do too. And so you're doing this and you kind of basically just leave me in the dust, I'm just this kind of sad loser who did make films with you before you were famous, sort of thing.
Well, that could happen. I won't lie, I mean, that could totally happen.
Like, am I going to be bitter about it, that your success ended Pigville? Am I going to be hating on you for that? How am I going to feel?
Judging by the fact that he didn't watch my last poetry video, the answer is yes. He will be bitter and hateful. He did not watch the debut of my poem, Off to the Shoe Shop.
Yeah, well, I already heard it.
Yeah, he heard it, but he didn't see the performance, which was different to what I did on the podcast, which was really... I literally read it from paper in the podcast, and I didn't perform it, and it was not the final version. Whereas the final version, and I performed it and got audience, like laughter from the audience. I paused for laughs and stuff. It was a performance. Guy hasn't watched it.
No, I mean, yeah, I guess I'm not really particularly interested.
Guess he's just threatened. Doesn't want me to blow up. Wants to keep that extra view to himself. That's what's going on here.
But honestly, I think that I'd be quite accepting of it, to be honest.
Well, I think that this is this reflects the very idea that I would leave you in the dust.
Yeah.
Because I blew up. Is a very sobering kind of reflection for me, because I'm reflecting upon how your mind works here. So if you become a big director and I'm just schlubbing around doing my poems and like getting cast in schlubby dad roles on fucking commercials, if I'm lucky, and you're blowing up, and that's how your mind's thinking. You're thinking, well, I'll just be leaving him in the dust. It'll be the death of Pigville.
Well, no, I've got a response for that.
Well, I will get to that, but the point is that I don't think so. I mean, really, my ultimate goal is still to have us doing a sort of a Seth Rogen and all of those guys kind of set up there, a whole bunch of mates that make films together. They're all kind of famous. They're all kind of have successful careers in themselves, but they all get together and make films that they all think are funny, so you got Superbad and all these things. And that's kind of my ultimate kind of goal, is to be doing that with you, making movies that we write, as well as, acting in other people's stuff and doing poetry or whatever, but like, but the main kind of dream is that Pigville becomes, a production company that shoots whatever the fuck we want and makes it financially viable.
Well, look, I agree, but life's a funny old thing. If you're touring, 200 days a year with your poetry, or like hypothetically, you get cast in a sort of a main supporting role on a 22 episode sitcom in the States, Yeah, that's great. I agree with that sentiment and that thought, but how do you do that?
Well, yeah, but the thing is that, 22 episodes, in that time, realistically, we wouldn't even have a film out. You could be sitting in here editing and nothing's really changed, and then I come back a big star, and then the next thing that comes out is this film that we shot.
Well, true.
But also, in this day and age with social media being the way it is, just say I did get cast in some big sitcom, and my social media presence went way up, and I've got, 1 million followers on Twitter. What am I going to be tweeting about? Pigville, my friend.
But what if you get the mandate from the studio? They're like, don't fuck around with any of that Pigville shit. In fact, we want you to distance yourself from this goofy Pigville stuff because this is really bad, and we're trying to up your profile.
Okay, but even then, say I've got a million followers on Twitter and I'm cast on a sitcom. That is still going to be opening doors for me to introduce you to people,
Yeah. Yeah.
You could come be the assisting the director or something like that, maybe, if I get along with the director. You never know how it works.
Assistant to the director.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so assistant to the director. And so yeah, I feel like I would still be doing my best to wangle you into the scene.
Right. Well, I still contemplate that as a possibility. I don't see it as
That's why I'm trying. That's why I keep going when things that are not Pigville related.
Yeah. So I think it could happen. See, for me, though, like, my response is, of course, I don't have to leave you in the dust, because as a director, I can always, like, I see you as my Bruce Campbell to Sam Raimi.
Right, and that's cool. But one film, even with a budget, one film can easily take a year.
Yep.
Between shooting it and it coming out. And so say I'm probably not, going to be in every single film you ever shoot, that would be cool. But, I imagine at some point you're going to want to branch out and work with somebody new. And so say you shoot another film and I'm not related, I'm not in it, or I've got a very small supporting role or something like that, like older, and it takes
That's a great role.
2 or 3 years to come out, and you're, in the meantime, you're busy working on it, or they get you in to direct, like a sitcom. Yeah. And I'm not casting it, and it's a big corporate job, and you're working for the studio directing a sitcom, 22 episodes, and
well, that's the thing,
I'm not up to much.
Directors only direct a block of like
time,
3 or 4, so that's less likely.
Well, yeah, I guess it just depends on what happens, but yeah.
Well, look, I think as long as I have my pad and my pen and camera in hand, it's not going to happen.
Because everything I'm shooting and writing is so bad.
Because everything I'm shooting and writing, no one gives a fuck about, and they'll need someone to be in it, and that will inevitably be you.
Yeah, sweet. Interesting thoughts just there. Now we do have, I want to give a shout out to a chap by the name of Matthew Zhao. Now, he is a colleague of mine, and I just found out recently that he is a listener.
Oh.
So,
closet listener.
Yeah, he never mentioned it until now.
There's no point mentioning it. This is a great way for my girlfriend to keep tabs on me.
Yeah.
And I know my prior girlfriend did listen to it extensively.
She's still listening. G'day, Kim. How you doing?
Kim, it was a little bit rude of you with the whole older pickups thing not helping out. That really put us in a bit of a bind, And you could have done that. And you didn't do that, and that was just a little bit rude.
Well, you're going to explain to the other listeners what the fuck you're talking about?
Okay, so basically what happened, we're shooting these older pickups, and my ex-girlfriend / producer was...
ex-girlfriend / ex-producer.
/ ex-producer was producing it, right? And she sort of has, further and further detached herself from the producing process as we have... gotten further apart, in a relationship.
As you have moved in with your next, with your new girlfriend.
I don't know. Maybe the two are related. I'm not sure. I'm still trying to figure that out. But basically, we had a bunch of reshoots to do, and when we originally shot Older, we shot a lot of it at her house, in her room, with a bunch of props that she has.
That belong to her. And so basically I reached out to her and I was like, hey, look, we're going to do some reshoots. We really need these bunch of things. Hey, look, I know you hate my guts and stuff. And I know you hate this film.
But this is just business, baby.
Can you please
This is just business, baby.
Can I please get back into your bed with another woman in order to shoot some scenes?
To be fair, out of respect, I never suggested filming at her in her room, which would have solved all our problems. If we could have done that, the shoot would have been, I don't know, 100% easier. But out of respect, I never even suggested that. I was like, hey, can we borrow your lamp? Can we borrow, like, this duvet that was on the bed? Just very simple things that would go a long way, because if we have to try and find this stuff, it's next to impossible. And she was basically like, no. And then she was like, well, I'll charge you for it. And I was like, you're still a producer on this. Doesn't make sense. If you charge us, that we're just taking money off what it makes at the end. That you would make. This is completely backwards. And she didn't care about that. And then she was like, well, and then I was like, okay, sure. Well, okay, we'll pay you. Well, what do you want? How do you want? And then just stone cold silence. Because she never at any point intended to help. She was making it as difficult as possible to the point where then she just had to flatly say no. But it really inhibited our ability to shoot the pickups easily and caused us a lot of drama and stress and time to try and figure out a way to sort of fake the whole thing and fake all that stuff that we didn't had. And, she didn't really have to do that. She was just doing it because she was like, I know that if I don't help, I'm going to fuck up his shit. And right now, I feel like fucking up his shit.
When you guys broke up, did you play Kim by Eminem, just fun, just cause?
No.
You never played it and listened to that?
No, I honestly didn't.
You never clicked on that? Kim, why don't you like me?
I never really did, to be honest.
Just didn't click on that one? Just didn't think about that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Didn't connect the dots?
I always... Yeah, that never really happened, to be honest. I was more prone to her other nickname of Kim.com. Or sometimes I refer to her in my head...
Because she's a big fat German man.
Well, no, she's the opposite. So she's a skinny, slender American woman. But, it's like Little John, and he's a giant. So Kim.com, you're thinking is going to be this morbidly obese lady.
Morbidly obese German entrepreneur lady.
But she starts. And so, or sometimes in my head I refer to her as Kim Ye, which is the combination of Kanye West and Kim Kardashian, because she's can be as much trouble.
Right, good. I'm not really sure how we went from Matthew Zhao to Kim Ye.
You said explain the story of the older pickups.
Before that, I said shout out to Matthew Zhao, and then you started talking about your girlfriend. And then you started talking about your ex-girlfriend.
Well, I don't know how we got here either, but anyway, Matthew Zhao.
No, that's it. That was it. Yeah.
Okay.
So good. We covered it all.
Speaking of Kanye West, he does have some new beef.
Yeah.
With Taylor Swift.
Picking on little white girls, eh?
Yep.
That's the spirit.
So basically, they had this thing a while ago where she won the award for Best Music Video. He ran up and was like, "Hey, I'm sorry, Taylor, I'm gonna let you finish." But Beyonce had the best music video of all time, and then walked off the stage, and she was shattered, devastated by the whole thing of this video music award that she was accepting. This non-award for nothing she was accepting on behalf of the director who did all the work and was the creative, genius behind it, basically. But she was devastated. It was horrible. It was scandalous. It was the end of the fucking world. So anyway, Kanye West is just releasing his new album today called The Life of Pablo. And on one of the lyrics, he says, "I still feel like me and Taylor might have sex. Why? I made that bitch famous." And so basically, she or her publicist, I'm using quotation marks, publicist, was like, "We never endorse this misogynistic statement by Kanye West, blah, blah, blah."
Right, but these were lyrics.
These were the lyrics, yeah.
It's not a statement.
It's not a statement.
You dramatic fuckers.
Yeah. But we can't condone it, and Taylor Swift is, hurt by this statement or something. And then Kanye West went on a classic Kanye West Twitter rant and was like, "For starters, I talked to her for an hour about this shit. Also called her a bitch. That's just an endearing term like the N-word is in this kind of thing. But also, stop trying to demonize real artists. Stop trying to compromise art. I miss," as you say, music is so fucking watered down right now. I miss that DMX feeling. I miss that feeling. So that's what I want to help restore. They want to control us with money and perception and mute the culture. actually, that's a really good point. I agree with that. I agree that music is being watered down, films are being watered down, and all of that stuff is being watered down on the basis of everyone's afraid of what they're going to say and how people are going to respond to it, whereas art is art, and, I mean, it's kind of like however you want to interpret it, but like at the end of the day, like sort of the Marshall Mathers LP is one of the greatest rap albums of all time. It is full of misogynistic and homophobic lyrics, but it's still amazing. Should he have censored all of that stuff and not had it in? No, it's art. It's a rap album. You interpret it however you want to interpret it. You don't have to agree with it or anything like that. You can say it's offensive. That's fine, but it's art. That's out there. And so I think he made a very good point with that. On the other hand, he also said, in all caps, Bill Cosby is innocent, ... See,
that's just
and then
stupid.
you just lost us. You lost us.
Well, it's so stupid, isn't it? Because you can't... He's not...
Qualified.
He's not qualified, exactly. He's not working on the case. He doesn't know what, the jurors know and all that type of thing.
He hasn't spoken to any of these 60 women.
So, exactly. So, he's automatically siding with Bill Cosby based on what? A hunch? And it's so dumb because...
Probably based on the fact that he's black and he feels that black people are often... what's the word?
Oppressed?
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Discriminated against?
Discriminated against, that's it.
Well hung?
All of the above.
And so, yeah, but like that's stupid because obviously, he doesn't know any details of the case any more than Joe Public does. And so when it comes out that Bill Cosby is a horrendous rapist, when it's all sort of official, Kanye West is going to be seen as endorsing Bill Cosby, the sex offender.
Yeah.
Which is just dumb. It's just not smart Twittering.
Well, this is the thing. This is the juxtaposition of Kanye, is he'll say something actually really quite on the nose and smart, and then say something completely ignorant and ridiculously stupid a couple of tweets later.
Yeah, I guess most of those on the nose smart comments must have gone over my head. Because I'm yet to hear one. That wasn't bad, saying like, stop watering down rap, but that's not exactly fucking profound, is it?
Well, I think
Eminem said it in the Marshall Mathers LP. He said, "What I'm sick of seeing pussies in magazines smiling. Whatever happened to
wilding out on being violent?
Wilding out and being violent. That was 15 years ago."
But I guess it's stop trying to demonize real artists. Stop trying to compromise art. That is exactly what kind of Twitter is doing.
Writing lyrics about a 23-year-old girl.
I think she's like 27 now.
Well, whatever. And like some young woman when he's like a fucking 40-year-old, and
he's 38.
And he's writing. I mean, what are you in high school, Kanye? Like, stop writing lyrics about people and then to call it. I mean, it's not. I mean, I'm all for free speech, and I reckon that I'm on his side. I agree, but I'm just saying he's not saying anything profound, and it's like it's really seems all pretty petty to me. And I'm not surprised that Taylor Swift's camp responded saying like, what are you doing? This is not 15 years ago. This is not the Marshall Mathers LP. You're not Eminem. This is just sort of attention-seeking, high school-esque, silly bullshit.
Well, is it though? I mean, to me, it's like he made up this lyric, that addresses a situation.
It's a situation where he was being a dick.
Yeah,
when he came on stage. So his answer to him being a dick was to be more of a dick.
Yeah.
That's a classic high school thing to do. As you get older, you kind of go, I'm going to admit I was maybe wrong. It would be a lot more interesting. It would be like if he wrote a cool rap saying about how he that was a mistake. Hey, I'm sorry about that. I was high on the moment. Rap.
Mm. Well, look, I'm okay with either of those statements. The statement he made or the statement, that did, really kind of assist Taylor Swift in the long run, in the short run, in every run. It was good for Taylor Swift happening.
Yeah. No doubt.
So as a point to make, I think that's reasonable.
So have you listened to his new album?
No, because you can't, it has not become available. When this is released, the podcast is released, it will be available.
Right.
But until that time, not available.
How did Taylor Swift hear it?
because he did a live stream of it, the entire album yesterday,
Right.
on Tidal, and it played all that music, and everyone quickly picked up on that lyric. It's also interesting, the idea that he did actually call her about it, and we don't know the details of that call. He may have kind of skirted around what exactly he was going to say. He may not have told her exactly that was going to be the lyric, or she maybe did know that was going to be the lyric
And was like, cha-ching!
but then realized kind of like, oh, well, what about all this? They'll expect a response from me. Oh, chicken out. Who knows?
No, I reckon the opposite. She was like, yeah, bro, Kanye, that's a good idea, bro. You're an artist. You're real smart. Do that, Kanye. That's a good idea. And then she was like, fucking ka-ching. I am going to, when this fucking dopey dude puts out these dumb lyrics, I'm going to put out some statements coming down on the side of feminism and all this stuff. It's going to be more publicity for me, more positive publicity for me. A beef with Kanye West, that's great for business. And she's a smart girl, so I reckon that's more likely what happened. Kanye's just a puppet, no? He's a puppet on the end of the strings there.
It just becomes a puppet on the end of my tennis shoe. Marshall Mathers lyric.
Fitting.
So that happened. I think I'm looking forward to his new album.
Good. Richard Dawkins, his tour of New Zealand that we were going to road trip down for, as you recall, he was going to be talking in Wellington, and I was quite interested in going. Guy was very enthusiastic.
Yeah.
I believe his answer was no. Anyway,
I believe it's not. No. It will be a cold day in hell, which you don't believe in, as neither does Dawkins.
Something like that. But anyway, so old Dawkins has had a stroke.
Yeah,
he's been struck by a stroke.
Yeah,
and he had to cancel his tour. That's bad. It really sucks.
Yeah,
it's bad news. But apparently he will make a recovery.
What was your joke about it, though?
My joke was I posted a picture of him on Facebook saying 1 like equals 1 prayer, 1 share equals 10 prayers. And I shared that bad boy up there. Because you see, sometimes...
See, that's what you call contradiction, which we talked about with Shaun of the Dead. The joke being that he's an atheist and that you're an atheist. And so the idea that anyone was doing that for this specific thing is a complete contradiction.
I even tried to find one of those groups where they do like Facebook prayers, where all these like lunatics get together and like, think they're doing good by like sharing these memes. But I couldn't find a good one, but I wanted to post it in there, like a super Christian, one, and post it in there and just see if it took off.
But you made a joke about it. What was your joke about it?
Oh, I said, I think I just said Richard. Because you didn't see the meme then. I made a meme of it.
No,
but I also made a joke about it.
Yeah, the joke.
No, the joke was the same thing. It was, hey guys, I think Richard would really appreciate our prayers at this in his time of need. 1 like equals 1 prayer. 1 share equals 10 prayers.
No, Shelley told me.
Oh, what did I do?
That you wrote, and you're like, oh, Richard Dawkins had a stroke today. Wish him the best. Don't know what the big deal is though. I had a stroke this morning.
Yeah. Before I got out of bed. Oh, that one. Yeah. Well, I made multiple jokes at the expense of Dawkins.
You made multiple jokes at the expense of this man's tragedy.
Yeah. Well, look. Here's the thing. I am an egalitarian kind of guy. Like, I support equality, right? So if I'm going to make jokes about Seymour Hoffman and Philip Seymour Hoffman and
the Fast and Furious guy,
the guy that ironically died in a Fast and Furious car crash, Paul Walker,
and Robin Williams,
whacking off and hanging himself.
Yeah.
That's not what he did, but... then I also have to make jokes about the people that I respect and look up to.
Well, look, I'd say, at least you're consistent. And
exactly.
That's what's known as an equal opportunities offender.
Yeah. Equal opportunities opportunist.
I'm on board with that. I mean, I think that the problem with him having a stroke is it's fuel. It's too much fuel, man. Yeah,
For all the Christians saying,
yeah,
"This is God's wrath."
what I was saying to my girlfriend is like, what you really want is for him to live to 100, have no maladies at all,
Yeah.
and just die.
Yeah.
That's what you want for the atheism dream. Because when stuff like this happens and he gets hit with a stroke, it is just this huge ammo of like, yep, just God's work. It's the hands of God.
Yeah.
Teaching him a lesson.
Yeah.
And, of course, that's nonsense, but it's a very, very convenient and easy to argue from that side of things.
But the type of people that would make that sort of argument are so supremely kind of like ignorant or brainwashed anyway that it's like they would be finding, anything that happens, they would be finding, oh, Richard Dawkins is 100 because God doesn't want him yet.
But if
he's so evil that God doesn't want him.
Don't want fuel for the fire. That's all I'm saying. So we got a little follow up from last episode.
Well, actually, before we do that,
Right.
my tooth got ripped out, right?
Yeah.
A little while ago. And on the Tuesday, since the last podcast, my tooth got ripped out. It was a 45-minute ordeal.
Really? Took that long?
Yeah, because it wasn't coming out and it was real brittle. It was sort of breaking apart.
Ugh.
Because it was such a sort of an old fucked tooth. And
so rotten.
it was not rotten, it was brittle because it had been drilled out several times and sort of filled in again and again. I'd had a root canal.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, it was 45 minutes of sort of heaving with the pliers and, the fucking sort of putting this like a miniature crowbar behind it, trying to like wedge it out,
Ugh.
And, I'm just sitting there like,
Was it sore?
well, no, it wasn't sore because I'd had like 3 injections and they took the nerve out 10 years ago.
Okay.
But it is quite shit not having a tooth in there. In the end, he had to chop it up, so he couldn't actually get it out in one, and he had to like saw it up into like 4 pieces and take out each piece individually. There's 4 roots, and it's not been that great really having that tooth missing. It's quite sore, but I haven't had any issues with it until this podcast. Literally right then, I took a drink of my Jack Daniel's Tennessee Fire, and there was a piece of ice in there, and I bit down on it right in the gap, and now there's blood in my mouth. Can you see any blood here?
Yep.
Yep.
Can see a little bit of blood there.
Yeah, that's the first time that's happened. I just bit down and this like sharp bit of ice went into what was formerly a tooth, which is now a big empty hole.
The artist formerly known as Tooth.
Yeah, and now my mouth is full of blood and I'm doing the podcast live. The other day as well, I ate some soup, and then about an hour later, suddenly I had a big chunk of potato and a big chunk of chicken in my mouth. And I was like, where the fuck did that come from? And it had been hiding up there. It had somehow gotten up there and was hiding.
So the moral of the story is,
Look after your teeth, kids.
brush your teeth, kids. Well, this is the thing, is like, it's not that you didn't take care of your teeth. It's probably a result of too many sugary drinks.
No, this one was a result of what... Because what happened with this tooth was I got I needed a filling when I was like 21, right? Which is not that unheard of.
No.
I'd had some other fillings at that point. But what happened, which was obviously a result of drinking too many sugary drinks. But, but that in itself wasn't the problem with this particular tooth. What happened was I was poor and I was living in Dunedin. And so I went to the dental school in Dunedin, which cheaper.
I've just been to recently.
Yeah, which is far cheaper than going to a real dentist. And I went along and I got this third-year guy who was his third-year dental student who was supposed to, drill out the tooth and just put a wee filling in. It was just a filling. But I think what happened was he just drilled too deep. I think he just took out too much tooth.
Right.
Basically, and he filled it, and then the filling fell out. A little while later, the filling fell out. Then I just had this hole, and then it became like horribly painful, like the worst tooth pain I've ever had in my life. Like I was driving at the time and I had to like keep pulling over and just like lie down on the road, basically beside the road, just like crying. And then on it was
much like you did when we were driving back from Napier from the wedding.
Other week, and I was throwing up and crying
and lying on the ground outside the car.
Yes, it was like that, except for I was in physical pain as opposed to feeling sick.
Yeah,
but both were miserable. But I'd rather be sick than have that tooth pain back. And anyway,
but the filling fell out. What? But you didn't repair the filling.
No, but it didn't happen like there wasn't a huge amount of time. I wasn't walking around with my tooth with the filling out for a long, long time. Or anything. But it fell out, and then I don't know. Sometime later, it got really, really painful.
Yeah.
And so anyway, they did a root canal. Took out the whole nerve, filled it up, and left it. And that lasted 10 years or so. And then now, basically, I started getting a cyst above it, and that meant that I had to get it sort of taken out. And that's where I'm at now. So that's the update on the Harley's Medical Melodies segment. My butt, hairy buttitis, still haven't got that operated on. Still hairy. Still an open festering wound. Still just getting worse. And I will sort that out at some point.
Well, you want to get onto that.
Yeah.
You want to get onto that. So
now, what were you going to say before I... Oh, we've had an update from last week's something.
Yeah, you ready?
Oh, yeah, okay.
The troll hole.
So, since last week, we did... now, last week we talked about a guy called... do you remember...
Starscream or something?
No.
Starman?
No.
Starburns?
Well, look, last week we did have a comment from...
This is how unimportant he is to us.
Basically, but I kind of wanted to keep ripping on him this week. But anyway, so this fella commented last week, and I've forgotten his name.
Was there a star in it?
I'm sure there wasn't a star in it.
Right.
Anyway, so there was a guy from... the rapist. Ferndale.
The Ferndale.
So it was
Ferndale Strangler.
Super Ferndale?
Super Ferndale. Ferndale.
I think it was Super Ferndale or something like that. So this guy, anyway, this YouTube user, Super Ferndale, or whatever we said last week, go back and listen, he commented that our podcast was shit, we should kill ourselves, and so on. And then,
so on and so forth.
So on and so forth. Just the usual, really. And so we, last week, spoke about him, said that he was a loser, he hadn't created anything, and I didn't send it to him, but I warned him beforehand. I said, hey, you're going to be in episode 54. Check it out.
Yep.
You dick. And then
check it out, dick face.
So I uploaded episode 53 late, right?
Yeah.
Nothing happened on episode 53. This is on YouTube, so this is YouTube. I uploaded episode 53, no mention, nothing happened. All quiet on the Western Front. And then I uploaded episode 54, and within 20 minutes, it had 7 comments and 11 downvotes.
Yeah.
7 comments, 11 downvotes. Now, that's extremely unusual. We don't get any comments on the podcast, or any downvotes, or any upvotes, except for the ones that I do under about 4 different accounts.
The only thing we get normally is apathy.
Yeah. Well, we get some views. I think the most was like 350. But so anyway, so we had all of these comments. So I'm going to read out some of this. Is from Volt Mojang. He said...
Realistic name.
He said, nigger faggot. That's good. That makes sense.
Neither of us are black, by the way.
But we're both gay. One Moonib said, fuck you, people. Phase Electronica, not to be mistaken with DJ Fades, who would never do this to us.
Or J Electronica, the sort of underground, highly regarded rap artist.
Yeah, not him either. Phase Electronica said, fuck you all, unsubbed.
Unsubbed.
Asa Drools Del Rules said, motherfuckers, 2 words. Not how I'd write it.
No.
Minecraft Nerd 12 said, you are all racist as fuck. It's because maybe because I said about the Jewish, Orthodox Jewish couple that came in and couldn't transaction money after sundown.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because somebody else. Well, hang on, and then Samsung is life commented, "Gayest shit ever."
Well, look, as long as you stand up for your beliefs in Samsung, that's the main thing.
Stand up for your brand. That's what counts.
As long as you rep Samsung till you die,
we cool with you, homie.
Yeah.
And then somebody else commented, like, you are racist towards Jews or something, but it was worse English than that. To which I replied, Judaism is not a race, it's a religion. And then he deleted his comment.
Good comeback.
Yeah. I thought it was all right. And so anyway, I looked through all of their profiles, all of the YouTube channels. They've all got 0 subscribers. They've all got 0 uploads. They're all clearly
Super Ferndale.
just jumping in and showing his fucking intellect.
Trying to throw around his internet clout. The Ferndale, Super Ferndale, we're on to you, buddy. We know it's all you.
Yeah.
You can just come clean.
Yeah.
That talking about you masturbating in your mum's basement cuts you to your very core, to the point that you had to listen to another entire podcast, which you supposedly hate, just to hear your name be mentioned again, and then go on 7 accounts?
Yeah.
And make up 7...
Well, it must have been 11 accounts.
Oh, sorry. 11 fake aliases. You spent all that time. You could have been done. You could have been playing your video games. You could have been masturbating. You could have been masturbating
in your mum's basement.
You could have been doing all the things that you love, but instead
you could have been fucking your mum.
Instead of all those things that you love, you were listening to our podcast and then logging in and logging off fake accounts, creating new ones, so you could downvote our podcast
while masturbating.
And I know that was a hate beat. It was like, I'm so angry, but I like that these guys mentioned me, but I have to respond. And I know that hate beat, you did a little hate beat for us, and I'm okay with that.
I actually appreciate it. I'm not even offended. That's impressive.
And look, if you want to continue hate beating to our podcast, Mr. Super Ferndale, that is fine.
Yeah. Well, look,
I'm absolutely fine.
I am going to tell him about this episode as well.
Yep.
I'll comment. I'll let him know that it's all here. I have one other thing to say about him, but I forget now.
Well, I will say,
in conclusion, fuck you, Super Ferndale.
Well, also, just the thing is, don't you get it? You've lost. You've already lost by listening to an hour and a bit of our podcast.
Well, to be fair, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
All of these comments and downvotes appeared basically straight away. Like, I checked it 22 minutes later after I uploaded it, and it already had all of that stuff. Now, you can't listen to an hour 20 worth of content in 22 minutes.
Well, right, I agree with that. But wasn't it the podcast before that?
No, it was that one.
Oh, okay.
So he ignored the one before that, which I did upload after telling him I was going to, mention him in the podcast.
Or did he ignore it? Or did he listen to that one and comment on the next one?
Well, no, because the next one was the one that he
gets a shout out in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But even the fact that you had to make those fake accounts, take that time, log in and log out as all these different people, do all that little typing of your new passwords. You had to remember 11 passwords, bro. That's way too many passwords to remember.
Well, we know they're all Super Ferndale 1, Super Ferndale 2.
I've got 2 passwords that I can remember. I still get them wrong sometimes.
Good hint for the hackers out there, guys. He's only got 2 passwords for everything, so you guess one, you've got them all.
You're pretty much good. But, you've lost because you're responding and you're listening. So, thank you for your support.
All right, so look, enough of you, Super Ferndale, until next week. Trevor from Hag Films.
Yep.
Now look up Hag Films on YouTube and on Facebook. They make comedy skits in the UK.
Need for Weed.
The Need for Weed is their flagship show. It's a web series about some stoners travelling across England, the English countryside, to visit their dealer. Very funny. Go check it out. The Need for Weed. Now, Hag Films. Trevor from Hag Films said he wrote a status here. So our film, I Survived a Zombie Holocaust, just came out in the UK just the other day. It's available on DVD on Amazon, and it's also available on iTunes. So if you're in the UK, or if you know anybody in the UK, please tell them to go and check it out, because it's just come out.
This is a monumental moment for us.
Well, it is, yeah. And since it coming out in the UK, we made it onto number 3 of the list of unconventional zombie films that actually worked, which was quite cool.
Yeah.
I shared that on the Facebook page the other day, so facebook.com/ISAZH if you want to support us there. So anyway, Trevor from Hag Films said, just had an email from Amazon UK. My order of I Survived a Zombie Holocaust has been delayed due to stock shortage. You guys sold out already?
Yeah, boy.
Now that was 3 days after it came out. So that's pretty good.
I'm happy with that.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, they only ordered 4 copies in the beginning because they didn't expect to sell many. But that's still, that's 4 more copies than we expected, right?
Well, that's very true. And maybe we should hit up our boy Murray Dibs
and see how many he actually bought in the first place, or printed in the first place. But that's a very promising sign. So there you go, guys. If you know anybody in the UK, please tell them to look up "I Survived a Zombie Holocaust" on Amazon and on iTunes. Available right now. Available now. Jim Eaton.
Oh, yes. Your best friend.
He's back on the scene. Now, Jim Eaton is our former flatmate.
Yeah.
Guy hated him more than I did.
We talked about him many times on the podcast.
We have mentioned him in the past. He's sort of a notorious racist, misogynistic, homophobic, but closet gay,
sexist,
but closet gay, and not a joke. Like, we have reason to believe that he is choking down a big one in America. That's how he got his visa.
Yeah. Vis-a-vis someone's penis.
Yeah.
In his mouth.
Yeah. Exactly. And so anyway, this guy, Jim Eaton, he is kind of an example of what's wrong with the world.
For sure.
He's like a right-wing, hateful, close-minded sort of person. But the strange thing about it is that he's a young New Zealander as opposed to an old American.
But also views really built up on like a very solid, strong foundation of complete ignorance.
Yeah.
Like really like an uneducated education. I think he's the perfect example of someone who, like you have all these extreme views and you're kind of fucking nuts and you're kind of completely fucked up. And, you go online and sort of absorb all this fucked up nonsense
stupidity.
To justify your own.
Yeah.
Whereas, and algorithms, unfortunately, on Facebook make it such that you're supporting you. That's supporting your views.
It causes clumps of ignorance.
And you're meeting people like you online and stuff that kind of vilify, or is it vindicate your sort of stance, and this leads to more ignorance, and it's a real problem. So that's what this guy is basically, and I do feel like maybe in sort of years gone by, people are just gonna be like, look, man, you're just talking so much fucking shit. Just read some books. Here you go. Here's some books. Read those. And he may have done, and he would have maybe not been this ignorant jackass that he is today.
So this guy has... I kind of keep him on my Facebook for entertainment value, really, but
for the lols.
I have been tempted to delete him.
I would have deleted him so long ago. He's too annoying. The stuff he says is too bad.
Well, I'm starting to fear for my life. So if I disappear, here's why. Right? Because so the other week I shared a video. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was it was about the US military, what they're doing overseas, how it's all working, a lot of the atrocities that the Americans are committing in the Middle East, which can't really be denied anymore. Human rights issues and
a lot of human rights issues,
all that type of stuff. I mean, it's war, and at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how civilized you pretend to be. You're going into someone else's home or their home country, and you're taking them out of there forcibly, and you're kicking them around and doing all this stuff.
Yeah, and this is kind of
inevitably power corrupts. You give a machine gun to a squad of 20-year-olds, chuck them in a little hut in the middle of nowhere, like a little village in the middle of nowhere,
volatile place where everyone hates you too.
Yeah, and then
and is trying potentially to kill you.
Yeah, and then you see that, and then of course you're not surprised when they rape a teenager, you've given them all this power and nobody to answer to, and they're young, dumb idiots encouraged to be macho as possible, right? And that's the type of thing that's happening over there. And so I posted a video about it, kind of documenting a lot of it. Now, I don't normally share that. I don't normally get that political on my Facebook, but in this particular case, it was late at night. I just watched it and I thought I'd share it. So I shared it. And Jim Eaton, one of the first people to comment. Now, this is actually a death threat. He commented, "On the day of the rope, you'll be the first to go, Harley." So what he's saying there is that on the day that the ignorant masses rise to overthrow civilization and delve back into a dark age and, hang all the people who are, forward thinking and, all that type of thing.
Yeah,
he's saying that on that day,
the utter destruction and annihilation of civilization.
I will be one of the first to get hung. To which I could have took that one two ways. I could have replied like, "That's a death threat.
Yeah,
you're blocked," and I'm taking a screen grab of this. But instead I decided I was kind of like, yeah, I don't care that much, and so I said, yeah, and you'll be there at the head of the mob, won't you, Jim? At the head of the ignorant mob, dragging humanity back into another dark age, something like that. And so anyway, then he disappeared for a week or so after threatening my life. And then he posted, so he likes to hang out on these websites that post things, like Britain First, I guess, these type of like racist Facebook pages and stuff that talk about, like Muslims and how bad the Muslims are, and how they should get rid of these damn Islams, and so anyway, he posted this article on my wall, and he just said daily reminder. That was all he commented, and the article was called "Algerian Sex Attacker Shouted Inshallah as he raped student 25, a 25-year-old student." Now, because we'd had arguments about refugees. Now I'm saying we need to let refugees in, because it's basic humanity, and 99.99% of them are not rapists. They're not they're extremists.
They're Uber drivers.
Exactly. They're
and dairy shop owners.
Exactly.
Guys, come on.
Racist but funny. I'll let it slide.
You'll allow it.
I'll allow it. And so we've had that conversation before, and of course, as soon as he finds an article where somebody, a refugee or a sort of a migrant of some description, like rapes somebody, he posts it like that's what they're all doing,
Yeah.
And it was annoying. And I replied to him, "Do you know how many Christian men raped women today in the USA?" Because like 80% of the population over there or whatever is Christian, right? So basically every rape is by a Christian. Look it up. How many Christian sex offenders are in American jails? Don't you understand that these cherry-picked articles you keep sending me are statistically insignificant? Because they are. They are. They're just picked out. So anyway, this fucking idiot is on there harassing me, and he's getting closer and closer to that block button. He's getting closer and closer.
Did he respond to that?
No, he did not reply. He did not respond to that. Surprisingly. But
it is a bit surprising, but maybe he's busy on his knees at the moment.
Yeah, he's on his knees choking down a big fat cock
he can't,
so that he can pay the rent.
He can't get up to the keyboard to write a response, or he's got to pay his bandwidth bill in other ways.
Yeah, and that we're not taking the piss and saying there's anything wrong with being gay here.
No.
What we're talking about is we found an email trail between him and Mr. Big Dick 54
that suggested that
a US farmer that suggested that they were kind of organising an arrangement where this farmer would put him down on the business as an employee kind of thing for a work visa in the US. But of course, you don't call yourself Mr. Big Dick 54 and look for employees on Craigslist without some ideas, do you?
Yeah.
As to what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So
it's all in the title.
I bet he's great at deep throating, though. I bet Jim's great at deep throating. Just food for thought. So yeah, Jim Eaton. If you ever bump into him,
walk the other way.
Run a mile, especially if you're a woman. Because he's quite charming and handsome. He's not in bad shape or anything like that. So he's quite charming and handsome. Comes across as quite a nice guy. But you have any sort of conversation with him, and you realise like what a horrible, despicable person he is.
Well, it's like all psychopaths, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or sociopaths. Is that basically there's a veneer of sheen across the top, which is the illusion that they put forth that they're like, look, I'm a completely normal human being. I'm not going to murder you or do anything, to harm you. I just get on with everyone, and I'm just, Ted Bundy was famous for being like this super charming guy, but of course did these horrific, terrible things. And I'm
quite charming, and I've killed heaps of people, but I wasn't dumb enough to get caught for it.
But I think there's the problem is like, that's the thing is like if you're a good psychopath, sociopath, whatever, then you will have that down pat. You'll have that charm, that first level of charm. But if you just dig a little deeper, so any sort of conversation that goes deeper than that surface level, you'll just start uncovering some disturbing things about this man and some very disturbing attitudes, very huge concerns about what this person is all about. And that's our boy, Jimmy E.
So good, we covered that topic. Now, did you have anything you wanted to cover there? Because I got one last one.
Oh, I've got a lot more, but we got to go, man, because I got to fucking work.
Got to go to work.
Yeah.
Well, it was the Harley podcast today.
Yeah, it was.
Cover my topics.
Yeah.
That's all right though. Normally we just cover your ones.
Yeah.
Well, so what? You got to go. That's it.
Well, I'll just quickly say, 50 Shades of Grey sequel. Okay.
Yeah. 51 Shades of Grey.
Dakota Johnson thinks she's the lead actress.
Yeah.
Thinks it's only fair that
Poor man's Dakota Fanning.
that Jamie Dornan's penis is seen. Because, she's doing the full front. She does the full frontal. It's only fair that you see his nuts.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
I 100% agree. 110% agree with that. Like, we as a society need to move away from nudity being such a big deal. Mm-hmm. We've all got dicks, bums, and nipples, man. We've all got them. Well, not the girls, but we've got genitals, bums, and nipples.
Yeah.
And so look, we've got to show them off. Like it's the way it is. We've taken something complete, like the most natural thing in the world. It is how we are here, and we've turned it into this sort of sinful thing that you're not allowed to show. Like you're not allowed to show some balls.
Okay.
And so there's that angle. I think that we are completely on the wrong path with nudity.
Yeah.
I think that nudity should be allowed, and it shouldn't be an R18 thing because your kid has a penis or a vagina. What's the big fucking deal?
Well, what about this, right? The female form.
Yeah.
Beautiful, elegant, sexy.
Mm-hmm.
The penis. A disaster area.
Well,
an abomination.
You need to understand
a horror show.
No, you need to understand your bias though, because if you were a gay man, you would be very attracted to penises.
Work of art.
Work of art, exactly. David.
A work of art.
David.
A work of art painted with a small brush.
Exactly. No, so I reckon, they've got to move away from that. But on top of that, yeah, fucking equality, man. Like, yeah, definitely. If we're going to be seeing titties and vaginas, we need to be seeing penises as well. And, like, if you can't handle seeing a penis... Like, how are you even alive? Like, you've either got one or you're attracted to them.
Okay, but...
unless you're a lesbian, I guess.
Okay, but I guess from an aesthetic standpoint.
Okay, but from an aesthetic standpoint, like, it's still the human form. Like, strictly speaking, there's not really anything more beautiful. I mean, it is what it is. It's done it's done its job perfectly for millions of years.
Yeah.
Like, it is, all fucking life squirts out of it, basically. Like, I really feel like from an aesthetic standpoint,
that's a riddle that should be in the new Batman film.
What?
Life squirts out of it.
But I'm very ugly. What am I?
Classic Riddler joke.
and also, like, I mean, I personally think that vaginas, love them.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're lovely.
Mm-hmm.
In all shapes and sizes, whichever form they come in. I think they're pretty lovely. But that being said, I acknowledge that just purely aesthetically speaking, they can be kind of ugly.
Sure.
They can be kind of ugly.
Well, certainly some more than others.
Some more than others, no doubt about it. But they can be quite ugly. But that's okay, that's just the way it is. And I think it's kind of the same, you can't just be doing like, you can't be, what if the poor guy has a real ugly small one?
Yeah.
I guess I'll just put a prosthetic on.
But this is the thing, is like, there is ways around that. Prosthetic, obviously.
Yeah.
But the simplest answer, chub it up a little bit before the take.
Yeah, but it depends on exactly how small it is.
Yeah.
And B, you're a filmmaker. That's not really that realistic. Imagine...
That's totally realistic.
No, it's not really. Like, imagine if you've got to do 10 takes.
Yeah.
And you've got to get a chub for every single take.
No, but it's semi.
Yeah, a semi. You got to get. So you've got to walk the line between flaccid and boner.
Yeah.
Which is difficult at the best of times. Not only that, you've got to do it 10 times in a row with a room full of people watching, or at least a few people, closed set, but still a few people there. And then on top of that, you add a strange and uncomfortable element there because obviously the chub is going to be brought about by the woman in the scene. So
no.
He's getting a boner.
No, what I'm saying is he gives himself a bit of a fluff.
So he has a wank. Have you ever tried to get a boner when you don't really feel like it?
Sure.
Yeah, and what happens, man? You've got basically it's gone to sleep, and you're basically doing it with just thumb and forefinger, just trying to wake it up, hey? And it just doesn't work.
Yeah, look, there's been times where it certainly hasn't gone well. I agree with that, but I feel like if you set the camera up, it's all set, right?
Yeah.
Mark's a set, okay? He just walks around the corner, gives it a quick jerk, runs back round, says, hello, there we go, I'm good for 10 seconds. There, we've got it. We've got it, guys. We've got it.
Could you imagine if your actor was only available for 10-second takes, and after every 10 seconds he had to duck around the corner and have a half wank?
I think this is the reality of big budget studio films in America.
I don't. I think that they use prosthetics when they have to. Otherwise, I guess it depends on exactly how much penis we're seeing. You know, like, because if it's just a quick shot, you probably get away with just doing a few takes.
A quick shot? You
could probably get away with just a few takes.
Yeah.
In which case, all right, maybe you could just have get a little semi going. But I would not appreciate that pressure. Like I would definitely get some performance anxiety if everyone was like, I was like, okay, guys, we're about to do this take. Lights are set. Your makeup's ready. Director's sitting there. Everyone's good to go. Okay, cool. I'm just gonna fucking duck around the corner for a little bit and just try and get a boner. I'll be there for like 30 minutes, probably, and everyone's waiting on you, and you'd know they're waiting, and the longer you take, the harder it'd be.
But also, not your penis.
Yeah.
The difficulty.
Yeah, the difficulty. And, you would at least need, a partner to help you.
Right.
Probably, I reckon.
I kind of felt like, that's what you do. I mean, I've heard of that happening. A few on a particular film set, and I feel like it could work, but apparently it's not going to happen. I'm with you. We should see full-on penis, full-on vagina. It's the only way to do it.
Well, how can you not? It's blatantly sexist otherwise. It's objectifying the woman but not the man. Like, what's the deal? If you're allowed to show a full frontal female, why are you not allowed to show a full frontal male?
It's more the issue of the grotesqueness of the penis versus the
is that what they said?
The beauty and majesty of the vagina.
Is that honestly what they said, or is that your opinion?
No, I think that's the argument that they were going for. No,
I think the argument is that a full frontal female nude doesn't look like that much because you're not looking at her labia, whereas a full frontal male nude, you are seeing his penis and his balls, and you can't hide it at all.
Yeah.
I reckon it's more about how explicit it is. It's sort of more explicit with a man.
Well, I think but I guess I think
that's a bullshit excuse.
Well, that's sexist too, because they're saying that a penis is more explicit than
no, but it's more visible. It's right there. If you stand a man and a woman side by side, a woman you can't really see much. Because you're not looking in there. You're not seeing the clitoris and the labia and all that stuff. Whereas a man, you're seeing everything just right there. Well, nothing's hidden except for the G spot. Well,
with great sadness, there will be no penis in 51 Shades of Grey.
Well,
I'm sorry, guys.
Step backwards
for humanity. Yeah.
Free the penis.
Yeah.
Hashtag free the penis. Start it, guys. Get it started. Hashtag free the penis. Free the balls, maybe. Well, I think that draws the show to an end.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for listening, and make sure you head on to Facebook and find I Survived a Zombie Holocaust on there. We're only 8. This morning we were 7 likes away from having 4,000 likes on the I Survived a Zombie Holocaust page.
That's really jumped up.
It has. And then I shared a thing saying, hey guys, can you click like on this today and we'll have 4,000? And nobody clicked like, and one person clicked unlike. So now we have 3,092 or 3,992.
That's what you call a social media backfire.
Yeah, it did backfire. And so anyway, if you guys could go and click like on the Facebook page, facebook.com/ISAZH, as well as go on YouTube, search Pigville, and watch all our shit, that'd be great.
Well, the last time I checked in, we had just 1,500 likes, maybe.
To be fair, you've been off Facebook for like a year.
Half a year.
Is that all? Feels longer. Well, thank you for listening. Good night.
See you later.
You've been listening to the Guy and Harley podcast, proudly brought to you by Pigville Productions.
Laugh it up, fuzzball.